Okay, Shola here, and in this quick session, I'm going to walk you through what's been happening as I navigate executing with more efficiency. And the big idea here is that you want to wake up every morning and know exactly what to do in terms of the 80/20 leverage points in order to hit your KPIs. Okay, so let me explain what I mean. So the first thing is that I don't care what business you're in, virtually every business has to get offers and leads, has to get just offers and value creation, right? So you have to offer something of value. It could be content that's valuable in IP or a product or service, physical or digital, all right? Then you have to drive traffic, leads, and visibility, all right? Every business needs a strategy, okay? And strategy, whenever you hear the word strategy, I just think where are the leverage points, what are my goals, and how do I allocate resources that are finite when I might have a goal and a vision that almost feels infinite, all right? Then every business needs numbers and tracking. As Taraji P. Henson said, if you don't do this, then the math ain't mathing. And then there's operations, which is really about execution, right? Whenever there's work to be done, you basically have three options. You do it, and ideally, as you do it, you document it, as I'm doing it here, all right? You delegate it, and or you automate it. And then lastly, relationships. There's not a business out there, even if you use reinforcement learning and autonomous AI agents, for which it's not vital that you have good relationships. So the whole idea is to create a power list, which is that every day you sit down and you say, I am going to do something related to my business that involves optimizing my offers, involves driving traffic. Driving traffic just means more distribution and more publishing, right? Anything that leads to more distribution, more publishing is going to lead to more traffic, leads, and visibility. I'm going to think through my strategy. This just could be as simple as saying that every day you're going to look at your 90-day plan, all right? And you're going to make sure you're focusing on the 80/20. You look at your numbers, what gets measured gets multiplied. You have a clear operations plan, which means that you don't just do, but you also think about how you can gradually delegate and or automate. And then you do, even if it's just 15 minutes. I like to use the 1% rule, which is that one day is 1,440 minutes. So 1% of that, 14-ish minutes, just call it 15 minutes, is 1% a day. So if somebody with deliberate action decides to invest 1% of their day into relationships, growing their business, that could be investors, that could be prospecting to the right clients, that could be traffic partners, all right? There's just no way that with that much deliberate action, you're not going to move forward. So what I invite you to do is to Google the term power list, all right? There are also apps like this one, I believe is free. And what you do is that your list might not look like your colleagues' list or your friends list, but everybody needs these core pillars, right? So your traffic source might not look like my traffic source. Your offers might not look like my offers. Your strategy, meaning what your particular zone of genius is, I'm going to put that in here. What your leverage points are, all right? Your numbers are going to look different from mine. You may track your numbers using Excel. I'm using Google Sheets, but as long as you do it. Execution. Always think, do, and document like I'm doing here, right? Delegate and automate. And then finally, relationships. And part of what's happened this week is I decided to go through some, as part of my strategy, right? I decided to go through some of the content from Hormozi, the acquisition.com curriculum. I really think that this fellow's and this organization's content is used more academically. What do I mean by academically, right? Like, remember when you're back in school, you had an actual textbook and you didn't just read it once and said, I'm done. You referred back to it. So I refer back to his content as I'm executed over and over again. And so the whole idea is that I decided to do what he talks about in this video is a simple operational framework. And basically what you want to do is start out with an audit. And here's the thing, this video isn't the snazziest, but what I am doing is do what you call sawdust content, right? I'm doing and delegating. I could have just done the work, but then I said, you know what? If you capture yourself, if you document it, as opposed to just doing it, then you can share this and add value, right? And part of what I was realizing as I'm going through my auditing of my different processes is during the day, I communicate often, right? Because ultimately, like, communicate, if you're writing something, you're basically creating content. And what I realized is that in the course of the day, I use apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook DM, Slack, Gmail, YouTube comments when I'm talking to people. All right. Maybe even I could throw school in here because I'm active member, a thought leader in different communities. But what I realize and I'm observing is that it's super easy for me to do conversational content, even as very video. But the more structured content is, I feel friction. And so the whole idea is to really begin with self-awareness and do an audit of your daily workflow like this to see, okay, what areas are low friction for me? And how can I double up on that? I'll give you an example. You can go and you can Google, I believe there is a Telegram to email, right? Integration with Maker Zapier. And so I'm just realizing I spend so much time in apps like WhatsApp or Telegram. Is it possible for me to literally create content inside of these apps that I feel like have very little friction and then post that content, right? And then the name of the game in 2024 is that people, to hat tip to Laurel Portier, there's so many people that have this snazzy content, but when you really dig into their background, they don't know what you're talking about. All they're good at is creating attractive, polished content, right? But the thing is that when you're actually documenting something that you're doing, just like I'm literally documenting here how I'm going through a operations audit, right? And how in the midst of doing and delegating, I'm also hitting another pillar, which is I'm producing content, and then I'm going to publish this on YouTube. You can see it's like the actual core work was the creation of the system, but I call it sawdust content because whenever you're making something, sawdust proverbially falls to the floor, right? And most people throw away that content as opposed to using it to add more value. So the very act of documenting in the process of doing what your core goal is can create content that doesn't pull you away from what you really want to get done. And the problem for a lot of us is that when you're trying to actually do work, stopping to try to create content feels like a distraction. And so I want to invite you to use simple tools like go to screenpal.com. ScreenPal is super easy to use because it has it, and I like ScreenPal over Loom because ScreenPal has an integration with YouTube, and literally the minute I hit stop with this video, I'm just gonna click a button and upload this to YouTube and share it. And here's the thing, 10 people could ask me in the next month, okay, walk me through your operations, your back end, what are you doing? And instead of me needing to stop and explain it to them, I can just send them a link. So essentially, I'm almost creating my SOP. It's almost as if you're creating your SOPs in front of an audience, a quote unquote live studio audience. So let me just walk through some tools again that you can use to make this easy for you and execute it, right? Step one is simple Google Sheets or Google or Excel. What you want to do is, in fact, what I'll do is that I'll just create a Google Sheet. I'll just do a copy of this and share this sheet and put it in the comment section of the video, right? And then you can just use the sheet, and it just has the core pillars, the category, all right? And then maybe you can, if you're feeling ambitious, just say, okay, I want to do 10 minutes of each, right? Eventually, you can get up to maybe doing 30 minutes or an hour of each one of these activities, but start with what I call a minimum effective dose. Hat tip to Eob, I believe his name, Near, right? His book about habits, right? So what you want to do is just write out, okay, what do you 10 or 15 minutes spent working on your offer, 10 or 15 minutes spent working on traffic, 10 or 15 minutes spent just reassessing what your strategy is, getting better and better at understanding what your core zone of genius is, understanding what the leverage points are in your particular business. 10 to 15 minutes just looking at your numbers, right? 10 to 15 minutes documenting, which is already going to get done just by the making of this video. And then if you have a team, VA, or other core staff, delegating, all right? And then automating, all right? Here, it could be workflow automation using Zapier, Airtable, Make.com. And then finally, I like to invest time in relationships every day, right? This could be relationship with potential traffic partners. This could be content creation partnerships, brand ambassadors who also send you traffic. This could be relationships with mentors or mentees. Just 15 minutes spent reaching out to your Dream 100 list. Hat tip on this is that I would recommend making a list of the categories of people you want to develop deeper relationships with and the characteristics that you want to have. And then ask yourself, where do those people congregate online, and just spend time there, right? So let's just say you decide that you want to nurture more relationships with people who are world-class email newsletter owners. Okay, where are they? Are they on Beehive? Are they on Twitter? Are they on, or X? Are they in the Active Campaign forums? All right, Keep, okay, OAP. Go to those communities, add value, and when someone says something that is interesting to you or they like your content, just reach out to them. And I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, just 15 minutes deliberately over days, weeks, months, years of conscientiously building relationships, intentional relationships, definitely pays off. So I want to invite you to do this audit of your day, win the day. You can use a tool if you want to get a little bit more self-accountability. You can download a tool like the Power List, put in 5 to 7 items that are related to the core leverage points of your business. And every day you get it done, reward yourself. And it's not possible for your business a year from now to look the way that it does today if every day like clockwork you worked on creating great content and tweaking your offers. Every day like clockwork you got more traffic. Every day like clockwork you paid attention to the core leverage points of your business. Every day like clockwork you paid attention to your numbers. Some people don't even spend 15 minutes a month, let alone a day, looking at their numbers. Every day like clockwork you document it, but you also got better at delegation and automation. All right, and then every day like clockwork you spent time to intentionally develop relationships with your Dream 100. So there you have it. I hope this is valuable to you. I'm going to link out to the video from Hormozi as well as a copy of this Google Sheet, and I'm going to link out to the app that I talk about. I don't get anything from promoting these tools. This is just me. I'm sharing with you what I'm doing, and I hope it adds value. This is Shola. Take care and take action.